Hello, my name is Byung-Joon Kim, and I'm a professor at the Department of Public Administration, Kookmin University, Seoul, Korea. In this course chapter, I'm going to introduce Korea Digital Divide Bridging Policy. Over the last several years, Korea Digital Divide Fill the Gap policy has broadened its concept and the range as the digital inclusion policy. So we are going to have a look at the Korea digital inclusion policy today. As you can see the contents of this course, we aim to understand these 6 items. As you can see in these pages, there's 6 parts in this module, and will go through in order to shown here. Before we starting, I'm going to brief introduce of the description of today's course. The first, we are going to find what digital divide is, and then look at 3 categories of index used in Korea to measure digital divide. Over the last few years, with the COVID-19 and new technology developments like AI, we found the concept and the definition of the digital divide policy broadening future to cover digital inclusion. So we will have a look at some of these cases in Korea, our digital inclusion policy task, especially 4 of them, capacity, environments, utilization, and foundation perspectives. So let's start the first definition of the digital divide. There's a lot of different point of views. We have selected a couple of them, and then we will try to understand what is the digital divide. The EU Commission defined the digital divide as a distinction between those who have internet access and are able to make use of new services offered one of the World Wide Web, and those who are excluded from these services. According to the OECD, it is defined as a gap between individuals, households, businesses, and the geographic areas at the different socio-economic levels with regard both of their opportunity to access ICTs and to their use of the internet for wide variety of activity. In Korea, NIA defines it is the difference in opportunities to access or use information and communication services caused by different social, economic, regional, or physical conditions. To simplify, put it one definition, we can say that digital divide is the inequality between the groups broadly constructed in terms of access to, use of, or knowledge of ICTs. Then we try to, here is the 3 metrics for the measuring the digital divide. NIA used these 3 metrics to measure digital divide in Korea as a whole. The first one is Digital Information Access Index. This shows how easily accessible you are to a computer or internet. It also indicates whether you have a wired or wireless smart devices and whether your internet access is always available. The second one is Digital Information Competency Index. This index measures computer literacy and mobile device literacy. And lastly, we have Digital Information Utilization Index. This one measures the use of a wired internet, diversity and intensity of the internet use. Especially the internet use intensity is the measure with a focus on information, production, and sharing the social participation and economic activities. As you can see that these graphics result of measuring the Korea digital divide for last 3 years, since 2019 through 2021. As for these 3 indexes, we assigned 20 points for the access index and 40 points each of a competency and the utilization index. Making the total score of the 100 points, we can see that each of the index values of the total of value digital divided measurement is continuing to rise. It means we are a little bit overcome to the digital divide. However, as you can see, digital divide impact by the COVID-19, unfortunately, that the gap is widened and the digital divide is getting more problem. The figure here shows which types of society we are going into by using new technologies since the industrial revolution. For example, digital information that has been introduced through the computers and the internet has allowed us to take a step toward into the information society, which is ongoing process even until now. In the meanwhile, we have come to experience intelligent sensations driven by the new AI technologies, and we are preparing to move forward into the future intelligent information society. However, the global pandemic that has been around for a while has emphasized contactless activities and caused the rapidly growing impact of the cutting-edge ICTs. The COVID-19 pandemic brought social changes of a couple of years earlier than expected, and the digital divide has been also widened. In the end, we have found that the pandemic and the new cutting-edge AI technology has worsened digital divide. For example, the digital divide impact by the AI. There are a survey back in 2020 that asked more than 3,000 business managers, executives, and analysts in 120 countries and 112 countries, and more than 80% of the respondents said that they expected AI to give their organizations competitive advantages and boost their productivity. It is a good sign. But this means that some businesses, latecomer or countries adopted AI, the more likely they have experienced a declining the competitiveness and the diminishing market shares. Leading country in the AI competitions will use AI technology to pursue economic benefits and expand the social welfare system, which will even broaden AI divide between countries or business or individuals. From the broadened perspective, the emergence of the AI will make AI divided between countries, business, or individual, as I mentioned before, will make digital divide even worse. So recently, ChatGPT or AI, new technologies is who have experience to use that will be the influence the gap, increasing the gap of the AI. More recently, we introduced a policy-driven approach called digital inclusion to bridge the gap and to find the solution. ICTs, including new AI technologies, are causing digital transformation around the world. In such an era of the digital transformation, we are more likely to see wider digital divide and worsen economic and social inequality and discriminations. This is why many countries, including Korea, are trying to address this issue of the digital divide by introducing new digital inclusion policy to resolve this matter. So as you can see that we found that how each country defined the digital inclusion. The first, in Korea, we defined digital inclusion as efforts of the society as a whole to ensure that all citizens participate in the digital world and enjoy the benefit of the digital technology evenly without discriminations. The EU defines digital inclusion as an effort to make everyone contribute and then benefit the digital economy and society. According to the UK, digital inclusion is to have access skills and motivation to competently go online to access internet opportunities. Australia defines it as a social inclusion by using technology as a channel to improve quality of life, promote education, and promote economic well-being across all elements of the society. If we put all these defined together, digital inclusion means that all people living in the digital ages enjoy the benefit of the digital technology and services without alienations or exclusion in the digital use environment and build the digital capability without discrimination. Therefore, we can say digital inclusion has a broad concept because it includes a digital divide problem solving. So now let's go a little deeper into the concept of digital inclusion. Digital inclusion refers to the activity necessary to ensure that all individuals and communities, including the most disadvantaged, marginalized group, have access to and use of ICT. This includes the 5 elements of the illustrator here. First, affordable, robust broadband internet service. Second, internet-enabled devices that meet the needs of the user. Third, access to the digital literacy training. Fourth, quality technical support. Fifth, application and online content designed to enable and encourage self-sufficiency, participation, and collaboration. As technology advances, digital inclusion must evolve based on these 5 elements. Also, at the same time, international strategies and investment must come beforehand for successful digital inclusions. And now I'm going to introduce the case of in Korea, where the digital inclusion policy has been adopted as the national agenda. Korea has offered the visions a digitally inclusive nation for all for digital inclusions. In order to achieve the visions, we have developed 4 tasks covering the area of the capacities, environment, utilization, and foundations. Task number 1 for the area of the capacity, we help all citizens build comprehensive digital capacities. Task number 2 for the area of the environments, we help the vulnerable group easily utilize digital technology and services. Task number 3 for area of the utilization, we promote the use of inclusive digital technologies and support vulnerable groups, social engagement, and employment. Last but not least, task number 4 for the area of the foundation, we build a framework for public-private cooperation and promote citizen-led community problem solving. So now let's find out more about each of these 4 tasks. The first, we have the capacity tasks where we help all citizens build comprehensive digital capacities. This task consists of the 3 projects. First, we will build a framework for digital education that is easily accessible by all. As part of this project, we operate digital capacity centers and then provide level customized education. Second, we help all citizens build capacities in the area of the software and AI. We offer both online, offline, lifelong education curriculum on AI for adults. Third, we made a clean cyber world through the preventive education on adverse impact of the digitalizations. And now we have the second task, the environment's task, that has helped vulnerable groups easily utilize digital technology and services. This task also consists of the 3 projects. First project, we make it easier for people living in rural area, the old or disabled, to use broadcastings and communication services. Second project, we promote digital access of the vulnerable peoples and their use of government services, especially for the disabled or elderly people to conventionally access to kiosk. We improve systems and provide more support for the vulnerable people's use of the government services. Third projects, we support remote learning for students from the low-income families and remote work for workers in small and medium-sized enterprise and small and medium-sized industry at the business sectors. The third task is a utilization task where we promote wide use of inclusive digital technologies and support the vulnerable groups, social engagement, and employment. This task composed of the 2 projects. First, we promote the vulnerable group access to inclusive digital technology and services. Especially, we developed and spread AI-driven services so we can minimize the inconvenience that the vulnerable, marginalized group of people may feel. We also use AI speakers to provide public and welfare services that are customized to the vulnerable groups. In the second project, we support social enterprises and build the foundation for creation inclusive jobs. The picture in this page shows one example of the project under task number 3. This is the case where we used the social humanoid robot called Liku as an AI solution to narrow digital divide. Liku is AI robot used in the education for senior citizens and children, especially for senior citizens. Liku gives them explains and the direction on how to use messaging services, video calls, and other communication tools. With this AI solution for bridging digital divide, the Seoul Metropolitan Government won the UNESCO's NAPOL Linking Cities Award in April 2021. Lastly, we have the foundation task number 4, that builds public-private partnership and promotes citizen-led community problem solving. This task consists of the 3 projects. The first project, we build a framework for public-private cooperation and support business participating digital inclusive activities. In particular, we organize and operated the Digital Inclusion Alliance, where civil society, business, and other groups can join. Second project, we build a foundation for citizen-led social problem solving. As part of this project, we are working on establishing more digital social innovation support centers in the major cities. The third project, we established a legal framework for a digital inclusive society. The Digital Inclusion Act is currently in the process of the enactments in the National Assembly. So far, we have taken a look at the digital inclusion policy based on the case of Korea. It is a policy that has new approaches while also including the traditional means of addressing the digital divide. So far, we have learned about the digital divide bridging policy or digital inclusion policies. Digital divide means the distinction, gap, differences, or inequality in opportunities to access or use information and communication services. NIA in Korea used 3 metrics to measure such digital divide. The existing policy for bridging digital divide was mostly focused on preventing marginalizations from the opportunities to use digital environments or equipments. However, the COVID-19 and AI happened to worsen the digital divide. The vulnerable people came to find themselves in poor environments. This is why we came to shift the policy from the providing opportunities to ensuring that benefits are not marginalized. So the new digital inclusion policy has a broadened concept where that current digital divide can be also solved. In order to implement the digital inclusion policy in Korea, we are working on 4 specific tasks that address major areas. We have gone through a few of the examples, and I hope this will be helpful for you. So that is for the module of the chapter 4 on digital divide bridging policies. I hope this is really helpful for your understanding and learning of the Korean cases. Thank you very much.